Akutami sensei has been cooking some really spicy chapters of Jujutsu Kaisen. It's a series that I stay up to date with, I read on a weekly basis. It is a fantastic series, easily one of the best manga experiences to read on a weekly basis when a chapter comes out. And if you have read this chapter, as you can see on screen, chapter 212, we know the bombshell that happens. Like, whoa, it's insane, this is crazy. However, what came out earlier today, if you haven't seen it, chapter 213 came out. And I'm just going to say, if you have not read that chapter, I highly recommend you to go read that before you continue with this video, because this video will contain a lot of spoilers. This is easily one of the most pinnacle moments of the entire story of Jujutsu Kaisen. And so let's dive into it. It's been a long while since I made a Jujutsu Kaisen video, and I felt like right now is a better time than ever to really sit down and talk about it, especially with what just happened with Sukuna getting into Megumi's body, which is just, oh god, like, it's scary. It's legitimately scary. So, before I kind of really start talking about this chapter, chapter 213 that we got, and everything that happened, like, holy crap, everything that happened, I want to take a few moments to kind of go back over some of the things that makes 213 viewed in a different way, and what we need to kind of discuss. So, one big detail that obviously we got from, the chapter 213, and what basically happened with this chapter and all that, and how he took over Megumi's body. He talks about how Yuji is someone that didn't really care about his own self if he got hurt, etc., and then he forced a finger of his into Megumi's mouth, and obviously he transferred his energy and power over into Megumi. That's exactly what happened. I mean, you literally see the entire scene where he concentrates his, cursed energy into his finger right here, and then he rips it off, he gives it to Megumi. We see this. So, we need to go back to this binding vow that happened between Yuji and Sukuna. We need to actually look at this and exactly what happened to kind of get everybody up to speed to see if there's any loophole or any way for Sukuna to have any drawback or get into trouble thanks to what's going on here. So, we have to look at this. This is chapter 11 of Jujutsu Kaisen. And in this moment, you see where Sukuna, he makes a proposal, binding vow. This is the moment where Yuji's heart was destroyed, he was basically about to die, and Sukuna kind of puts him in a position where he's being forced to make a binding vow. And so this is what he says: I have two conditions. You agree to let me take over your body for 1 full minute when I chant enchant, or enchain. And 2, you will forget about this agreement. That is what Sukuna wanted. And then obviously Yuji is like, I don't trust you, etc. and all this, and then he fools Sukuna to let him up, and then, he punches Sukuna right in the face. We see this entire scene. And basically they do a little deal. It's like, okay, if I can beat you and all that, then, you'll revive me without a binding vow, but obviously Sukuna wins, so the binding vow goes through. So we need to analyze what Sukuna said here. We really need to take a moment and look at what he actually says, because this is clearly the whole thing, the whole point of it, where, he won't hurt anyone either. This is what Sukuna actually adds in, and we need to talk about this. So basically, Yuji agreed. This is 100% his binding vow, we know. He agreed to let Sukuna control him for 1 full minute. Okay. And, he will forget about the agreement. Okay. Now, apparently, with the little terms that was added in, he would not be able to hurt anyone during that minute. Now, this is a very vague term. The way this whole thing is, Sukuna just passively throws it out there just to make Yuji kind of on board. He just throws it on out. That's it. That's all he does. He doesn't think too hard about it. He just throws that little line about the binding vow out, and he basically goes along and says if he was to break it, he's the one that would be punished. That's exactly what he says. So he says he would be in trouble if he broke it, not Yuji. So that's a big detail. So now we need to fast forward to what happened in, the latest chapter. Chapter, 212 that happened where he took over Yuji's body using Enchain and then forced the finger inside of Megumi's mouth. So we gotta think about the whole concept of this, okay? Sukuna cannot hurt anyone. Now that is definitely what was a part of the binding vow. The thing is the binding vow still in place, even though he's left Yuji's body? Has it been completely broken, completely destroyed, and it no longer is relevant? I don't know. If anyone has the information or more knowledgeable on Jujutsu Kaisen, then please do clarify in the comments below. I would greatly appreciate it. But it makes me wonder, if that is indeed the case, if the Binding Vow is still activated, it makes sense why this basically happened, why Yuji was able to be hurt, because obviously he's not under the protection of it. But anyone else, hypothetically, that was to get hurt within this minute, would make Sukuna have to kind of be hit by the Binding Vow. Now, once again, this could be just me throwing things out there that, you know, it might not actually happen. I might not know too fully about everything about Binding Vows. Once again, correct me and remind me if I'm wrong. But that is something to consider. I just do want to throw that one out there. Anyways, let's talk about what actually happened, okay? So Sukuna has taken over Megumi's body. He has legitimately taken him over, and the whole reason for it, he's been biding his time, waiting for a long time to be able to build up enough strength to be able to take over Megumi's body, because he feared that Megumi might also be a cage to some degree like Yuji, and he didn't want to take that chance. He wanted to make sure he fully incarnated into Megumi's body, became him basically, and we can assume he also wants to steal his techniques, like for instance the 10 shadow technique and all that. We literally see him use Nue in the chapter, and it speaks for itself. He definitely wanted this technique, and what kind of gives weight to this and why we know he wanted this technique is that if we go back to basically where this all began, like when he was fighting Megumi and he first encounters Megumi's technique, you see his look of shock right here. This is a very big deal. This is when Megumi first uses his shadow against Sukuna, and you see Sukuna, his face, he's like, what's going on here? He's, you know, you have a Shikigami come up, grab him, and then the whole fight's overall demeanor and atmosphere changes. Sukuna doesn't, you know, really be aggressive anymore. He just smiles like he's interested, and that's about it. And it's clear at this moment that is when he decided what he wanted to do with Megumi, and he wanted probably to get in his body. That's what we could assume from this entire ordeal. Now, we do need to take a moment to also think about what he said here. He's like, boy, we would see something interesting. This is also a continuation of basically this. Basically saying that, you know, they will see something interesting right here. He's like, you know, right here, we'll see something interesting. And he was talking about Megumi. It was clearly foreshadowing. Ever since Chapter 11, Akutami has been setting this up for this very moment that happened within this chapter of 212. So 200 chapters. 200 chapters of foreshadowing for this very moment for Sukuna to do this. One thing I do want to say though before I go any further, I really love how in character Sukuna is in this moment, because most of the time in manga, when a villain wins, and to a certain degree, they monologue and they start laughing and all this type of stuff, and they talk quite a while honestly to the MC. We don't get that with Sukuna. He just straight up, as soon as he gets Megumi's body, he hits Yuji through a building, and that's it. And I think that this is just so in character for him. It's honestly refreshing. I know that this is what Sukuna's character is, but it's just so nice to see that Sukuna did not change his personality after getting out. He didn't do this whole long-winded conversation mocking Yuji. He just straight up just got rid of him right then and there, and that was it. I absolutely love this moment for that. Now, we gotta talk about what's going to happen. What is the possibilities for the series now that Sukuna's basically taken over Megumi's body? Yuji's been slung through a building and impelled, turned into a donut, so to speak. You know, what is going to happen? Well, I don't think Yuji is going to die. It's a possibility. It is 100% a possibility. But I don't think Yuji's going to die. If I had to assume anything, what would really play a lot of strength to Yuji's character and give a lot more development to him is that we have a moment to where he gets back up somehow. Either he heals himself somehow, thanks to having Sukuna in his body for so long, he's able to pick up on, you know, basically a reverse healing technique, or something like that, or whatever other case. Someone else comes in, whatever, and he gets up and he goes to Sukuna/Megumi's body, and he talks to Megumi, and somehow Megumi is able to have his personality resurface. It would kind of be like a callback to basically, you know, the Chapter 9, where, you know, we have Yuji come back and control the body, and then he falls down thinking he's going to die. I could see the whole reversal of this scene happening, what's going on right now within the manga. For instance, we have the opposite, where Yuji's going to be standing up and Megumi's going to fall to the ground. That's my assumption. That's what I assume is going to happen. And if that is indeed the case, in the direction that Akutami-sensei wants to go, it would make perfect sense too. Because for one, if this scene does happen in reverse, so let's say Megumi does die, and the reason why this is because Megumi gets control somehow, back, and then Megumi either is killed by Yuji, which I doubt Yuji would kill him, which means that Megumi might take his own life, which in turn would mean that Megumi, you know, dies with whatever power Sukuna has in him. It could lead to just complete devastation for, you know, basically Yuji. And it could lead to a lot of character development as well. I could definitely see that potentially happening. And if that is, that scares me. Because with the way Akutami is as a writer, Akutami isn't afraid of killing characters off. It's very obvious. It's incredibly obvious by the way he writes. Or he. I don't think actually we really know if Akutami's a boy or girl. Correct me also if I'm wrong. But, anyways, with the way the writing is of the entire story of Jujutsu Kaisen, I would not be surprised if Megumi dies. I wouldn't. I really wouldn't. I also wouldn't be surprised if Yuji dies. I don't think he is, though, but I wouldn't be surprised either. So, wow. I mean, one thing, though, we do get from this is that this New Age segment of the latest chapter 213 that came out, it shows the potential, how much room that Megumi has to grow. Like, how stronger he can get. This New Age is massive. Like, it's not even the same ballpark as what Megumi is normally capable of with New Age. It's just seeing the literal mass of this monstrosity on top of a building. Like, it's on a freaking skyscraper. Like, look at that. That is massive. It shows just the possibilities of how strong he is and capable of and what he could summon. Imagine, like, his wolf. Like, his summoning dog, Shikigami. Like, imagine how massive that would be. It's just scary. It's legitimately scary to think about. So, yeah, Jujutsu Kaisen, honestly, kind of messed up. I mean, I don't think, obviously, by the way the whole situation's done, that Megumi's going to get out of this okay. I don't, because, I mean, he also took a lot of Sukuna's curse energy within him. And from what we know that has been established with Sukuna's cursed energy, with the fingers and all that, since he technically put his cursed energy in that finger and force-fed it to Megumi, is that, it's clear that Megumi's probably going to die, but just from that alone. So, yeah. Not good. It's not good. So, I want to leave it at that. I want to talk about, you know, the latest stuff of Jujutsu Kaisen, because honestly, right now, this is one of the biggest moments of the entire story. Because, like, this will really make or break Yuji as a character. Like, I think this will really show if Akutami really hates Yuji, or if Yuji's going to finally be given a break. We'll see, because clearly, you know, Yuji right now is not in a good state. Will he get that standard shonen power up, or will he not? We'll find out. But I guess I'll leave it at that. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you enjoy my content and you want more Jujutsu Kaisen videos, then, you know, do leave me a like. Let me know in the comments below. I would greatly appreciate it. But with that, be safe, stay healthy, Chibi out.